Welcome to English Exam Essentials. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. It's time to test your IELTS listening skills. Get ready to train your ears and boost your band score. In this video, you'll go through a full IELTS listening practice test with real exam-style questions. Grab your notebook or answer sheet. Make sure you're in a quiet place, just like on test day. The audio will play only once, so listen carefully.
This is the IELTS listening test. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 parts. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now, turn to Part 1. Part 1. You will hear a wedding coordinator arranging flowers with a florist for an upcoming wedding. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Good morning, Daisy Bloom Florists. This is Claire speaking. How can I help you today?
Hello, Claire. This is Anna Davis from Sparkle Weddings. I'm arranging flowers for a wedding in June, and I'd like to place an order.
Certainly, Anna. Could I take the name of the bride, please?
Yes, it's Emily Turner. The wedding will be on Saturday, the 15th of June at Rosewood Hotel.
Great, I'll note that down. Do you know what flowers Emily has in mind for her bouquet?
She would like a classic mix of white roses and lilies. She mentioned she prefers a hand-tied style rather than something too structured.
What about the bridesmaids?
There will be 4 bridesmaids, and they'll carry smaller bouquets made up of pink carnations with some baby's breath.
Lovely choice. Shall we match the buttonholes for the groom and groomsmen?
Yes, please. The groom would like a single white rose, while the 4 groomsmen should each have a small carnation buttonhole.
Understood. And are you looking for flowers for the ceremony venue as well?
Yes, 2 large arrangements to be placed at the front near the altar. Emily asked for something in pastel shades, soft pinks, creams, and maybe light peach.
That will look beautiful. How about the reception? Will you need table decorations?
Yes, there will be 12 round tables. We'd like simple glass vases with pastel-coloured flowers, and for the top table, 1 larger centrepiece with roses and lilies to match the bridal bouquet.
Excellent. Just to confirm, that's 12 table arrangements plus a large centrepiece for the top table.
That's right. Oh, and we'd also like some flowers for the cake table. Nothing too big. Maybe a small spray of pink roses.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 7 to 10.
Noted. Now, in terms of delivery, what time should we arrive at the hotel?
The ceremony begins at 2 p.m, so flowers need to be in place well before then. I'd suggest delivery by 11 o'clock in the morning.
I'll schedule for 10:30 a.m. to be safe. Do you need us to set everything up as well?
Yes, please. We'll have our staff on site, but it would be best if your team arranged the flowers.
Absolutely. And could I have a contact number in case we need to reach you on the day?
Sure, my mobile is 07894442666. 0.
Thank you. Now, let's talk about costs. The bridal bouquet will be £85, each bridesmaid's bouquet £35, buttonholes £7 each, the large altar arrangements £120 each, table decorations £28 per table, and the top table centrepiece £60. The cake spray is £25.
All right, let me add that up. That should come to just over £700 in total, correct?
Yes, £702 to be exact, including delivery and setup.
Perfect. And what about payment?
We usually ask for a 30% deposit to confirm the booking, and the balance 2 weeks before the wedding.
That's fine. Can I pay the deposit by bank transfer?
Certainly. I'll send you an invoice by email with our account details. Could I confirm your email address?
Yes, it's anna.davis@sparkleweddings.co.uk.
Thank you, Anna. I'll prepare a written quotation and send it to your email by tomorrow morning.
Wonderful. I appreciate your help, Claire. Emily will be delighted.
My pleasure. We look forward to making her wedding day beautiful.
Thank you. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
That is the end of Part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 1. Now turn to Part 2. Part 2. You will hear a town council president discussing proper garbage disposal and cleanliness in the town. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Good morning, everyone. As Town Council leader, I'd like to spend a few minutes today discussing an issue that affects every single one of us: the proper disposal of garbage and the importance of maintaining cleanliness in our community. First, let us look at why waste disposal matters. When garbage is left in open areas, it does not only create an unpleasant sight or bad smell. More importantly, it becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes, flies, and even rats. These pests carry dangerous diseases such as dengue, malaria, and leptospirosis. Once they spread, the entire neighborhood suffers. Children, senior citizens, and people with weaker immune systems are the first to be affected. That is why we have a responsibility to take this matter seriously. Each household is expected to separate waste into different categories. Biodegradable items like food scraps should be placed in the green bins, while plastics and other non-biodegradable materials must go into the yellow bins. This simple habit reduces health risks and also makes collection easier for our waste management team. Now, beyond health concerns, cleanliness directly improves the quality of life here in our town. Clean streets and open spaces encourage people to walk, jog, and spend time outdoors. Families can enjoy the park without worrying about litter scattered on the ground. Visitors also form a positive impression when they see an orderly and well-kept environment. A clean town is not only healthier, but also more attractive to tourists and businesses, which strengthens our local economy.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 16 to 20.
Let me emphasize, however, that keeping our town clean is not only the government's responsibility, but also a shared duty among all residents. While the local government provides garbage trucks, distributes bins in strategic areas, and follows waste collection schedules, these efforts alone will not succeed without the active cooperation of the people. Every citizen plays an important role in managing waste responsibly by practicing the principles of reduce, reuse, and recycle. For example, instead of depending on single-use plastic bags every time you shop, you can carry a durable, reusable bag that lasts for months or even years. Rather than discarding old containers, you might find creative ways to reuse them for storage at home, such as keeping rice, snacks, or office supplies. If you have bottles, cans, or other recyclables, you can bring them to our recycling centre, where they will be processed properly instead of ending up in landfills. These small, seemingly simple actions, when multiplied by hundreds of households, can create a long-lasting and meaningful change for the entire community. Another important point I would like to highlight is the value of community participation. Our town government regularly organises monthly clean-up drives in parks, riversides, and other public spaces, where volunteers work together to collect rubbish and restore cleanliness. I warmly encourage everyone, students who want to serve as role models, employees who wish to give back during weekends, and retirees who have more free time, to take part in these meaningful activities. Participating in clean-up events is not just about removing litter from the environment. It also provides a wonderful chance to meet your neighbours, build friendships, and strengthen the bonds of unity within the town. When we come together with a common goal, we create not only a cleaner environment, but also a stronger, more cooperative community. I urge each of you to take responsibility for the cleanliness of your immediate surroundings, your homes, yards, and places of business. Simple daily habits such as sweeping your front yard, trimming overgrown plants, and ensuring that trash is disposed of properly can already make a big difference. These actions, though small, serve as a good example to your family, your neighbours, and even visitors to our town. When every household commits to maintaining its own area, the entire town will naturally remain orderly and attractive. A clean environment reflects discipline, pride, and care for one another, and together, we can ensure that our town remains a place we are proud to call home.
That is the end of Part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to Part 2. Now turn to Part 3. Part 3. You will hear a tutor, Dr. Evans, meet two students, Lisa and Tom, who attended a conference talk he recommended. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
Good afternoon, Lisa and Tom. I hope you both managed to attend the conference session I recommended yesterday. How was it?
Yes, Dr. Evans, we were there. It was more engaging than I expected. The speaker focused on how technology is transforming learning environments.
That's right. He gave examples of mobile apps, online platforms, and even artificial intelligence tools being used in classrooms.
Interesting. What stood out to each of you the most?
For me, the highlight was the section on online collaboration. The speaker explained how students in different countries can now work together almost as if they were in the same room. He talked about a university in Singapore that runs virtual classrooms. Students log in from home but still feel like they're in a real lecture hall with interactive whiteboards and group discussions.
I was especially drawn to the part on time management tools. The speaker showed how scheduling apps can remind students about assignments and keep them organized. He also showed a case study from Canada where teachers use AI programs to give students instant feedback on essays. The system highlights grammar mistakes and suggests better vocabulary.
That's fascinating. It shows how technology can both save time and improve feedback.
True, but he also said that teachers must still guide students. Technology can't replace the human side of teaching.
Very wise point. Were any disadvantages discussed?
Yes. The speaker warned about digital inequality. Not all students have reliable internet or devices, so some fall behind.
He also mentioned overdependence. Students might follow app reminders but stop practicing problem solving or critical thinking on their own.
Very true. That balance is important.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen carefully and answer questions 25 to 30.
Now, thinking about your own studies, how do you see these ideas applying to your coursework?
I think using online collaboration tools would help with our group projects. Sometimes it's hard to find time to meet in person, but if we could share files and notes online, we'd be more efficient.
For me, I'd like to try one of those time management apps. I often forget smaller tasks like preparing reading notes. An app that sends reminders could help me stay on track.
Good thinking. But remember, technology is just a tool. Success depends on how well you use it. What skills do you think you still need beyond technology?
I suppose we need stronger communication skills. Even with collaboration platforms, if people don't explain their ideas clearly, the group can still get confused.
And discipline, definitely. The app can remind me of deadlines, but if I ignore the reminder, it won't change much.
Exactly. Balance is the key, combining traditional skills with new digital tools.
Do you think future students will rely almost completely on technology?
That's an interesting question. Some experts believe that in 10 or 20 years, most courses will be fully online, but others argue that face-to-face teaching will always remain valuable. What do you think?
I think online learning will grow, but I hope universities still keep in-person discussions. I learn a lot just by talking to classmates.
Same here.
Well said. That shows you're thinking critically about both sides. One final thought. Do you think you'd attend another conference like this in the future?
Yes, I would. I feel it opened my mind to new ideas. Listening to experts gave me a fresh perspective on studying and teaching.
Same here. I used to think conferences were only for professors, but now I see that students can gain a lot too. I'd be happy to attend more, especially if the topics are practical.
I'm glad to hear that. Perhaps you could even share a short summary with the rest of your classmates. That way, Everyone benefits, not just those who attended. And before I let you go, here's a challenge. When you prepare that presentation, don't just repeat what the speaker said. Add your own opinions and examples. That will make it more meaningful.
Right. So instead of only describing the apps, we could explain how we might use them in real projects.
And maybe suggest ways to avoid the disadvantages, like setting limits on screen time.
Exactly. That's the kind of critical thinking I want to see. Thank you both. Keep up the good work, and I'll look forward to your reflections in class.
That is the end of Part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to Part 3. Now turn to Part 4. Part 4. You will hear a lecture about the origin of bicycles. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good afternoon, everyone. In today's lecture, I'll take you back to the early history of one of the world's most familiar machines, the bicycle. Although we take bicycles for granted now, their origin was far from straightforward. The early designs went through many changes before reaching the form we recognise today. The story begins in 1817, when a German inventor named Karl von Drais created a device called the loaf machine, or running machine. This early version had 2 wheels aligned in a straight line, a wooden frame, and handlebars for steering. However, it had no pedals. Riders simply sat on the frame and pushed themselves forward with their feet. Although it might seem primitive, it was the first attempt at personal 2-wheeled transport, and it laid the foundation for what would later become the modern bicycle. This invention spread quickly across Europe and became known in English as the hobby horse. For a short period, it was a popular novelty, especially among young men. However, its popularity soon declined because it was difficult to use on rough roads, and it required considerable physical effort. Nevertheless, the basic idea of balancing on 2 wheels had been introduced, and inventors began experimenting with ways to improve the design. The next major step came in the 1860s in France, when innovators attached pedals directly to the front wheel. This design was known as the velocipede, or sometimes the bone shaker, because of its uncomfortable ride. The wooden wheels were fitted with iron rims, and when ridden on cobblestone streets, the experience was extremely rough, hence the nickname. Despite this, the velocipede was an exciting development because it freed riders from having to push along the ground with their feet. For the first time, forward motion came from pedalling, which is a key feature of bicycles today. As enthusiasm for velocipedes spread, manufacturers began producing them on a larger scale, particularly in Paris. However, riders soon discovered that simply attaching pedals to the front wheel created problems with balance and speed. The solution that appeared in the 1870s was the so-called penny farthing, or high-wheel bicycle. This design featured a huge front wheel, sometimes over a metre in diameter, with pedals attached directly to it, and a much smaller back wheel. The idea was that a larger wheel could travel further with each pedal rotation, giving greater speed. While the penny farthing represented an impressive engineering leap, it was also dangerous. Mounting and dismounting required skill, and falling from such a height often resulted in serious injury. In addition, because the rider sat directly above the large wheel, it was easy to lose balance when hitting obstacles, leading to accidents. For these reasons, penny farthings were admired for their speed and daring image, but were not suitable for everyone. The real breakthrough came in the 1880s with the invention of the safety bicycle. This model had 2 wheels of equal size, a chain drive that transferred power from pedals to the rear wheel, and more reliable brakes. Its lower design made it easier and safer to ride, and it quickly replaced the high-wheel bicycle. In fact, most modern bicycles still follow the same basic pattern as the safety bicycle. By the end of the 19th century, bicycles had become affordable and widely accessible. This was due in part to advances in metalworking, the use of inflatable rubber tires, and mass production techniques. What had begun as a strange wooden contraption in 1817 had, in less than a century, become a practical and popular means of transport around the world.
That is the end of Part 4. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 4. That is the end of the listening test. In the IELTS test, you would now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet.
Well done on completing the exercise. How did you do? Share your score in the comments. If you found this helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More listening drills are coming your way. Thank you for watching, and good luck on your IELTS test.